There is a massive variance sometimes in price between various different coins. Proof coins, bullion coins, graded, ungraded, collectible sets. The list can be quite endless sometimes as to how much you might or should be paying for various different things you want to collect. So today I want to do a deep dive into understanding some of these factors that play into how much we attribute value to these items, and how we, as stackers and buyers, can keep ourselves safe and make the right choices for our collections. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and a warm welcome to you all joining me for another Precious Metal Ramble. Now, within the world of gold and silver, there can be a lot of variance. Silver prices and gold prices go up and down, but also on a smaller level, we have a huge variance when it comes to different coins. Even bullion coins in different designs will have drastically different values attributed to them by various people around the world, but even more so accentuated when you compare bullion with proof, for example. Us human beings will attribute value wherever we want to, quite frankly, and sometimes it can be irrational. Sometimes it's fairly rational. You can definitely argue this is a beautifully made, very well presented, lovely coin with an exquisite design and a bit of beautiful history to it as well. But it's still just a 1 ounce silver coin. We just attribute more value to it. So its value is defined by what we and the various markets around the world want to give it. And therein lies one of the biggest problems for collectors, stackers, new and seasoned as well, to get the best prices and the best deals on what we want from our gold and silver. So today I want to share some of my top hints, tricks and tips for keeping safe, I guess, when buying, researching, understanding various different markets, a little bit of a top-down view on all of the types that are out there that we can think about and potentially stack and collect and make money on as well. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not here to tell you what you should or should not do with your money, and the onus should be really on you guys, because the variance that's out there really can lead to quite significant levels of potential loss for people. Now, of course, it's all subjective. As I said, value can be attributed by different people in very different ways, and proof coins are one of those very prime examples where a bullion dealer won't attribute much value compared with a bullion coin to a proof coin, because ultimately their job is just to pass it on and make a little bit of money on it. Some specialist dealers might focus a little bit more on proof coins, for example. But there are collectors out there in this world that do value the rarity and the scarceness of things like proof coins. There are a lot of collectors out there in this world that will put more value on this label at the top of a slab than maybe the coin itself. And I do find that a very strange concept, and I've always been, I'm a fan of grading in that I like the way they're presented. I like the idea of a coin being protected and preserved, and it's there. I can look at it, enjoy it. I don't have to worry about getting it out of the box every time. But just to pay an absurd amount of money for the simple fact of having a label saying PF70 is a little bit of a strange concept still for me, but there is a market out there for it. Unfortunately, that market can also be manipulated and taken advantage of as well. There are a plethora of examples of various different companies selling coins which, there could be bullion grade, for example. Britannia's MS coins is the prime example. I am not a fan of an MS coin. So MS, for those that don't know, stands for Mint State, and it could be in a slab MS70, MS69. And you often find that some of the dealers out there, the sellers, the retailers, will just get a batch of these bullion grade Britannias from somewhere like the Royal Mint or Eagles, for example, from the US Mint, send in 1,000 to the graders, pick out all the best ones, the 70s, the 69s, flog the rest for a very small loss, and then they'll try, and they will, unfortunately, slowly sell these coins at massively inflated premiums to, sadly, unsuspecting punters that just come along and go, oh, that looks good, or you've told me that's good, yeah, I'm going to get that. A few of my compatriots out there in the YouTube world have done videos exposing some organisations, and I think anonymously done so as well, exposing some of the sort of aggressive sales tactics that can be used out there from a plethora of different companies. And unfortunately, it is too prevalent. It really is. There are a lot of organizations out there that sell and basically shill absolute tat for humongously inflated premiums. Now, ultimately, there's nothing illegal about that, and there's nothing wrong with that. And, for example, I'm not going to shy away from the fact that I sell premium hand-poured silver on my channel and through my website. But what I don't do is when somebody rings me up or when somebody inquires about a different product, I won't go and tell them that it's going to be the best thing that they'll ever buy. It's going to make them, massive returns on their investment. I'm very upfront and honest that, our poured silver and other bits of poured silver out there in this world that are inflated are not necessarily investments. They're luxury items that you'll maybe enjoy and have something that is unique and individual rather than those, like the bullion coins just churned out and graded. Those are different to sort of those handcrafted things. So that different value that we as human beings attribute to things works in the favour of some of these organisations and individuals, and sadly out there scammers as well. There are some outright scammers that will just really take advantage of some people, and it can be done in sort of a very but essentially morally wrong way but legally right way. And there are definitely stories that I've heard out there where there are people who have essentially been upsold and scammed for various different items, and it is sad really to hear those stories sometimes when they come through. But we as individuals can do things to protect ourselves, and that is by increasing our knowledge, increasing our understanding of the various markets, of what is necessarily a good buy, a wrong buy. And it's difficult, but it is important to do. If you're serious about this and you want to look to get more gold and silver into your stack, and you want to start maybe branching out and collecting some more eclectic mixes, or if you've seen lots of my videos on proof coins here on the channel and you want to start looking at getting some of these, it's definitely a thing that people can do, but be advised caution. One of the biggest pitfalls is proof coin value going down, and a prime example of this would be this 2009 beautiful gold Britannia here. It's a PF69, so it's not the perfect coin, but I don't really care about it because it was about 1550, 1575 I think on the silver forum, and that was at the time when you could buy a Bullion Britannia from the Royal Mint for about 1550 from a dealer. So it's equivalent to bullion. I think it was about 1575 from memory. I'll have to double check my records. But the point here is it's certainly not where a proof coin would be today from the Royal Mint. Now, back in, of course, 2009, don't know where exactly gold prices were, and I wasn't stacking back then, so I couldn't possibly tell you what a proof coin from the Royal Mint would have cost. But, it's not impossible to imagine that this coin could be, or could have been, flogged on some less morally sensitive dealer or individual's website for a vast sum more. And it's about how long that person's willing to hold it. And there's a certain degree of that that's acceptable for certain individuals within stacking communities. If you want to look to sell this, I could probably put this up on my website for £1,650, £1,700, and it might not sell immediately, but eventually there'd be somebody that comes along that goes, hey, I like that coin, I want that coin, it's not available anywhere else, I'm going to buy it. Is that morally right? There's a threshold, I think. There's an argument to be had that maybe I got a great deal for buying this at the price I did. But at the same time, it's what everybody individually thinks is right for them. And ultimately, there's nothing wrong with overpaying for various things if you're enjoying them. But when you could compare it with getting things that are, very cheap compared with what you're potentially buying, the longer term returns on them are going to be much better. Now, if you have fallen victim to perhaps yourself or even just the high pressure sales tactics of some of these organizations out there, and you've got some of these pieces that you're now are overinflated when you bought them, what can you do? Ultimately, there is only one thing that you can do, and that's just hold it and wait. The sad fact of the matter is, if you bought this now from someone and it was £2,000, could you flip it tomorrow for £2,000, get your money back? Be pretty hard to do, but not impossible. However, in 10 years' time, gold will probably be well over £2,000. So you'll still be in profit. But the difference is, if you put that £2,000 into gold, you'd have 1.25 ounces, probably a little bit more. I can't do the maths that quick in my head. You'd have a little bit more gold than 1 ounce. And of course, you're then going to have even more returns. So picking what is the best thing over that longer period is very difficult. And that's one of the reasons why when I stack, I like to have that eclectic mix. So I do have this, collection of proof coins from the Royal Mint, which I think will ultimately still do okay over time. Some of them won't. And it's important to remember that some of them won't. But generally speaking, if you're if you're thinking about the exit, how you're going to get there, if you're thinking about the time frame that you're going through to get there, if you just sit on a lot of these coins and choose the right moments and do it responsibly, like, yeah, I could potentially turn into one of these scammers and try and phone everybody up and try and say, look, I've got the best thing since sliced bread, you should buy it. And maybe there'd be somebody out there that would fall for it. But goodness me, the morals required to stoop that low, in my opinion, crikey, not good. So when I hear stories of organizations out there that use these kind of tactics, use these pressure selling tactics, I really hate them. There are words that could probably be said that would get this video demonetized. They are not good people. And I think there is also a sort of element of this coming from, and this is like my social media rant at the end here, there's an element of this of various different social media platforms and individuals on social media as well that start pumping and dumping various different things. And there's been a lot of talk about that within things like the proof coin world, in the graded slabs, but also just generally, I think, for various different, entities out there. I don't want to name names and name companies and name, different social media personalities, you know what I mean, social media influencers. I'm not that kind of guy to name and shame. And also, quite frankly, I can't be dealing with all of the potential fallout that might come from any kind of silly defamation or stuff like that. Because ultimately, there's nothing illegal about selling something at an inflated price. Like, I could put this in a 69 graded slab and sell it for £2,100, and it would be morally outrageous for me to do that. But it's not illegal if I could find somebody to do it, and that's therein lies the problem, you see, unfortunately. So, from my perspective, I think there's this moral imperative for certain people and sellers out there, and it's okay to want to make money, but when you start bordering into that kind of pressurized selling category, I think you start really pushing the boundaries. Anyway, look, I have now ranted and moaned for long enough. I do want to say a personal thank you to everybody who's listened thus far. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, we're on target for 45k by the end of the year, which would be one hell of a New Year's present if we can get there. So if you are not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, a big thank you to you all for watching, especially the Cool Kids Super Extra Special Club. Thank you, my backyard Bullion Ramblers. We'll see you on the next video, which, by the way, for those who have watched this far, is going to be all on this Noah's Ark here. A little bit of a sneak preview for Friday. If the camera ever bloody focuses, the light here today is atrocious. Anyway, it's not a very good one, and the quality of this crest on the back led its owner to think it might be a fake. So we're going to put it through the rigors of testing to see if it's genuine or if it's a fake. That's coming on Friday. Otherwise, that's it for now. Thank you one and all. We'll see you next time. As always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.